Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please. Please welcome Gareth Griffith.
Morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here, so thank you for having me and coming out so early to listen to us speak. It's about, I think, the third or fourth time I've followed Ed Gibson, and that's not a great place to be as a presenter because he's a very difficult act to follow and has done, I think, wonders in this space in the time that he's been in the UK. So I wish he was here for me. I've thanked him personally many times, but I'd love to thank him publicly for what he does for e-crime across the UK. He is a wonderful man, wonderful individual, and he really adds a lot of value to the space. So it's always a pleasure to hear him speak. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what PayPal do, how PayPal is impacted by e-crime around the world, and how we structure ourselves to try to manage that impact. I hope that I'll be able to pass on some learnings, and I know that I will be learning from other speakers today. I stole this image actually from one of the emails that eCrime Wales sent out. I liked the concept of being able to squirt a little bit of e-clean around the place and managing to clean up the internet with that. So please, when you perfect that product, let me know, and I'll certainly distribute it through PayPal networks. First of all, I know, I think it was 50% of you are not using PayPal. I don't know if that was, the question was quite specific to business, so I don't know if that means personally you're not using it or you don't use it as your business. But you know, we still have some way to go to get customers onto our site. But as an idea of just people who may not know us very well, these are just some numbers to give you an idea, first of all, of who we are, what we do, but secondly, of the scale of the business that as a risk manager I need to keep my eye on, and it creates all kinds of challenges. So we were founded in the US in 1998 as PayPal, global online payment business, as you probably know, the ability for people to send and receive money over the internet, either as payment for dinner last night, and you owe your mate some money, sending money to someone you know around the world, or buying or selling things is probably what we're most well known for. We were acquired by the eBay Incorporated group of businesses in 2002. That's the umbrella company that has PayPal on the payment side, eBay marketplaces, which many of you will associate the word excuse me, eBay with. And then other companies, shopping.com, Gumtree.com, classified sites, Skype, we're in the process of selling, but they've been an eBay company for the last few years. We have actually slightly more than 193 million accounts around the world. This is our second quarter numbers, actually, and tonight at probably around 8 p.m. we will be announcing our third quarter numbers. So I'm hoping that number will be higher than that by the end of today in terms of what we are telling people. In 2008, the last full year of reporting, we transacted about, or we processed about $60 billion worth of payments, 27% year over year. We are still growing. We know what it's like in a recession period, and we know what it's like on the internet, where growth and direction can change very quickly, and you just have to ask people like Yahoo about how that can happen. So we certainly don't sit on any laurels, and this is not a trumpet blowing session. This is more about telling you who we are and what we have to deal with. And again, from a risk management perspective, we're processing more than $2,000 per second, at least in the second quarter of this year. That's high velocity of transactions that we need to keep an eye on and manage. And I think we're doing an okay job right now. I think 14% of you out there apparently might not agree. I hope by the end of the presentation we'll reassure you that we are certainly trying. We're not perfect. We are trying to be better. But our loss rate at the moment is about 0.3% of the payments that process through PayPal. We are technically a bank in Europe. This is not, I'm talking specifically about the European PayPal organization. We were, up until 2007, regulated by the FSA, so strict regulations and compliance requirements, as you would expect. And then in 2007, we actually centralized that around the European organization, who are now managed or regulated by the CSSF, so the Luxembourg equivalent of the FSA. So strict regulatory requirements, strict compliance requirements, we obviously need to abide by, just like any other bank or financial service player. And just finally on this bit, we're looking at about 50% of British online buyers now who use PayPal as a method to pay for goods and services. And that figure's up from about 17% back in 2004. So it gives you a bit of an idea of our growth in the UK. Last slide about us. This is just what we call our global footprint. So anything that's white, we don't have any activity happening. And so about 190 markets around the world, we do have various different types of activity where you're able to send money with PayPal or receive money with PayPal or both. 19 currencies, 190 markets, as we heard earlier from Jamie. So what are we here today to talk about? Obviously e-crime, that's been made very clear, and Ed has really driven that home with some very practical day-to-day applications of e-crime that help us to understand what's going on out there. I thought I would steal a quote from an executive at British Airways, which I think from a retailer type perspective sums it up quite nicely. It's become harder and harder to discriminate fraudulent transactions from those made by honest, everyday people. And I think you can take out transactions and drop in just about any activity on the internet, communicating, downloading, sharing, social networking, whatever it is. It is, one of the beauties of the internet is the anonymity of it all. That's one of the things we love, the speed, the convenience, the anonymity. Of course, all three of those things create real challenges when you're trying to find out who's good and who's bad and sift the good from the bad. And from a business perspective, of course, there's the internal challenge constantly that we all face if we're in risk management or fraud management or security or whatever you might call it in your organization. We used to have one of our taglines was fast, easy, and secure. Now you have to imagine fast, easy, and secure don't always work well together. Fast and easy tend to work quite well together, not always, but then you add the secure bit. So consumers today want to go on the internet and within seconds and a couple of clicks be able to buy things, be able to send emails, be able to download things, whatever it is, however you interact with the internet. And increasingly, as more and more people get involved, we need to do that in a secure way. There's the constant headbutting that goes on internally in organizations between marketing, product development, whoever it is, and risk management. And this is the challenge. But our USP, one of our core propositions, is so that you can pay quickly. So I cannot be allowed to come in and put up a whole bunch of hurdles and ask people to send me their passports and check in at the post office and give us fingerprints to make sure they are who they are. I have to figure out other ways to do those virtual things. And it's a constant challenge. So a couple of other things just to reinforce some of the things that Ed said, I think. Antivirus software on consumer PCs was only able to detect the Zeus Trojan 23% of the time, according to a Trustier study which happened this year, a couple of months ago. Now, you're a consumer and you have antivirus on your machine. This will concern you a bit. So 23% of the time, I'm catching the Zeus Trojan, which is a keylogger, well-known, very effective Trojan that's out there, that has been for a while. Who do I trust? How do I stop this if 23% of the time antivirus is not catching it? Cyber criminals, mainly originating from Russia and Eastern Europe, have channeled millions of dollars out of the US small, medium-sized enterprises. This was the Washington Post back in August. A couple of things to pull out. So, originating from Russia and Eastern Europe. It's global, it's international, it's beyond our borders. Channeled millions of dollars. We're not talking about small crime, we're talking about, in many cases, a huge volume of small crime that adds up to one big crime. There's millions of dollars and pounds and euros involved. Small to medium-sized enterprises, already been mentioned today that these are a challenge, and there may be people today from these types of sized organizations. It's about resource. You do have to invest. We'll talk a bit more about that later, but you have to invest in risk management. And nothing's free, right? And you have to figure out, I can put more money into marketing and filling up my bucket of customers, or I can take some of that and put more money into making that bucket secure. Very often, especially in the early days, the early evolution of a company, that balance is very difficult to get right. And people tend to focus on land, especially on the internet, land grabbing. First person who's there, first company there gets the territory. And you tend to go fast, barreling down that road, building your bucket. And there may be holes in it. You say, it's okay, we're going to fill it quickly enough to not worry about that. Well, that's going to bite you later when you get to the point where there's nothing more to put in the bucket, but you've got holes everywhere. So small to medium-sized businesses have to make some very tough resource allocation decisions that make sure that they are plugging that bucket at the same time as filling it.